Welcome to KXAN Plus. Thanks for joining us here in our launch pad, our cosmic launch pad.
Cosmic launch pad.
I'm here with Eric Henrickson, our space expert, and we're in some different seats, Eric.
Yeah, we rearranged the entire room today because it's a new year.
It's a new year. We need a new look, a new atmosphere, and we still look like we're in our regular rocket ship.
Yeah, we're in the rocket ship brand, the spaceship KXAN.
KXAN
Plus spaceship.
Something like that.
Oh, Lord, I'm sorry.
Well, today we have a new topic. This is our first episode of 2026, right?
Yes, I believe so. Unless someone else was here last week, it wasn't me.
Kicking off strong, we're going to be talking about a telescope.
Yeah, so the Giant Magellan Telescope.
Magellan like the shirts or like the Explorer?
like the Explorer. Like the Explorer. So the Giant Magellan Telescope is this telescope that's been under construction not under construction, but in the process of being built for like 20 years. And it's this huge telescope. Each of the mirrors on this telescope, it's a ground-based telescope, is 26-ish feet, 26 to 27 feet.
Have we seen renderings of it before?
Yeah, I think we've done something on it before.
We have, yeah.
Not that. That's just gray.
That's just a screen.
That's not what it looks like. But yeah, it's this giant telescope. It's going to be built in Chile, and they're in the final design phases, which is what you and I talked about last year, or about this time actually.
It was like way back.
It was like February last year, something like that. It was in the final design phase as well. This past week, on Tuesday, they announced that the new president of the corporation that runs it, the GMTO Corporation, is a UT professor named Daniel Jaffe. I got to sit down with him last week, and we got to talk about space and this telescope and what it's capable of and why it's important. And I wanted to showcase that story here.
Let's listen to it.
We will, with this telescope, in some ways move from discovering things to analyzing and understanding things.
For more than 20 years, UT professor Daniel Jaffe has worked tirelessly on bringing the Giant Magellan Telescope to life. His work developing instruments for the telescope is now evolving into a new role, president of the group behind the project.
I served as UT's vice president for research for about a decade. I've garnered a fair amount of experience in dealing with large projects and complicated administrative problems.
The telescope, based in Chile, is outfitted with giant mirrors.
This tiny person is about 6 feet tall. This mirror, this individual mirror you see, is 26 feet across.
Capable of concentrating light from across the universe.
Its ability to analyze the light in sophisticated ways allows us to understand the nature of early galaxies.
Jaffe says the telescope benefits not just the people working on it, which includes UT and Texas A&M, but the whole state.
We can bring some economic benefit to the state through the expenditures on research that get done as a part of this project.
Jaffe joins his fellow UT colleague, Taft Armendroff, in a leadership role on the project, which entered its final design phase last year.
They are allowing us to come up with the final details of the design and a final cost estimate, and it's an essential step to getting the federal funding for the telescope.
For Jaffe, seeing this project near completion is a dream come true.
I think it's going to be a major breakthrough for astronomical science in the coming decades.
Thoughts?
Very, very cool.
That's it? That's all you got for me?
It's very cool. It looks like a beehive sort of thing.
It's going to be so big. Like that model, I think, really showed it, like how big it is. He said like there was like 18 people to lay across it. That's how big it is. It's huge. And that's about 6 foot high person. It's going to, so the final design phase kicked off last year. So basically that's like the final like twisting all the knobs, making sure everything's good. And then they take it to Congress in the summer of 2027. So
for funding, right?
For funding. So they'll go there and go, hey, Congress, are you willing to help pay for this? Probably will. Like it's, because they've been working on it for so long. It's like one of those things, it's like, they're very positive about how it'll get appropriations will help it out. And then it'll go into they'll have the money the following year to finish it up. All the pieces, not all the pieces, but most of the pieces are already built.
Yeah.
So now it's like getting them to the desert where it's going to be located, which is I was told by one of our producers, the driest desert on Earth, which is one of the reasons they chose it.
In Chile.
In Chile. So I'll turn to this camera now. We're mixing things up, guys. Like I said, we got new cameras. We're changing things. 2026. But I don't know what's going on with me. But yeah, it's going to be, the telescope will last about 30 to 50 years under the current plan of how it operates. And from there, it'll actually evolve to do different science. In fact, some of the telescopes that existed when Thomas Edison was alive, they're like some of the few optical telescopes to be decommissioned. So these telescopes have these long life. The McDonald Observatory in West Texas, I think it's like 60 years old. So it's pretty old, and it's still functioning, still doing things. Not the same science it started off as. This telescope, Giant Magellan Telescope, again, like it has like modules, so they're able to replace technologies and instruments as they go, which is pretty cool.
They built it in pieces, right?
Yeah, so they have like areas where there's giant mirrors that are just like done. You saw them in some of the video.
It was glass.
Yeah, they take the glass and they melt it down and like smooth it out. And so they have these giant mirrors. And so you're thinking like, okay, well, this is in the desert. It's in Chile. Like, why are we out there so far? And why not just put like this thing in space, right? Because when you're on Earth, it's harder to observe things in space. First of all, you got to deal with weather. That desert has significantly lower cloud cover than like McDonald Observatory does, but it's still got some. It's still, it's in the southern hemisphere, which allows it to see the center of the Milky Way galaxy, which I didn't know until this interview. I was like talking to him like, oh, I didn't think about that.
That's cool.
The Milky Way is that way.
Which way?
We're
That
south.
way.
The idea is, no, it's this way. That's south. That's south. So it's that direction is the Milky Way galaxy, like the center of the galaxy. So they can observe the center of the galaxy. The northern hemisphere looks into the, beyond our galaxy. So that it can actually look down into our own galaxy. You can see some cool stuff down there. And then, even we moved cameras around. I'm still doing giant hand gestures.
we need your big shot so we can see your arms.
Giant. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so big. Like, they're all the way out there. Way out there. It can see that way. But why not put it up in space is the big question. Like, why not take these telescopes into space? We have giant telescopes in space. And I asked him about that. And here's what he had to say.
One aspect of it is that it weighs a lot. And so every pound you send into space costs you thousands of dollars. And so it's very, very difficult to lift these huge structures into space. They also require engineering that's actually at a higher level because of the complexities of launching them. So for example, the largest mirrors that you can launch with a space launch facility like the Starship or the Ariane 5 rocket that the Europeans have is maybe 20 feet across. So these mirrors are already too big for that. And then you'd have to assemble this in space, which is enormously complicated to do. And ideally, space telescopes are not in low Earth orbits. They're in orbits that are very far from the Earth to keep the Earth from interfering with the ability to observe. And we don't typically send astronauts, for example, to these distant orbits. So it's very, very complicated and problematic to construct a space telescope that could do the same thing. So that's one reason. The other is adaptability. The technology is evolving very, very rapidly, and it takes years to field an instrument to a satellite in space of the kind of magnitude that we're talking about here. Whereas we can build a new instrument and pack it up and send it to a ground-based site within a few months once it's ready.
There you go.
He answered your question.
Yeah, he was great. We had a good conversation. I had to trim it down so much. Some of it got like really nerdy, as one would expect with me. But I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Why we can't just put these in space?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask him, honestly.
I do my job okay sometimes.
I like the fact that he had that little version of the telescope.
Yeah, and
right
he was able to point down to it and like kind of showcase like the size difference to me and really get in detail, which I was very appreciative of. Giant Magellan, new leadership. Their other leader, the chairman of the board, also a UT professor. And UT is just one of the many schools, including Texas A&M, that has participated in this project. There's 15 different universities who have worked, 20 plus years to put Giant Magellan together.
Wow. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we already have a telescope that we use a lot that's in Chile, right?
We do. They have a bunch of telescopes in Chile, just because like the desert where it's at. So this will be the largest.
But they all do different things.
Right, and the different sizes, different mirrors, different technology. And they change out the modules on these things.
Oh, there's that photo.
So,
Look at all those mirrors.
Yeah, these are some of the renderings that the Giant Magellan Telescope Company has put together for us to show off. Yeah, that one's really cool. I like that one a lot. I just thought some of the size. Oh, and that's where they put together the mirror. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, when they melt down the glass.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They sent me a stack of photos. I wasn't able to put them all in the story. I probably could if I had the time, but...
Said, you want to see how it works? Let me show
you. Here's how they're doing this thing. So pretty cool. I don't know. I think it's a cool telescope. I'm happy to share it with the world.
I always love talking about telescopes.
We have more telescope talk in a little bit.
We need to shoot a space show up in the Austin Observatory.
So it's really hot in there. I have been there. It's very hot. And so we'd have to do it like now.
Yeah.
We have to do it now. but I don't think I was just there last week, and they haven't started the tours yet. So
One of these days.
one of these days we will do it. It's a cool spot. I don't know. It's got, I have
I've
a photo.
never been, but I
There's a
wanted to be
photo
with you.
on my phone that I used as a background that I took up there of like through the fence. This is too much information for anyone, but through the fence of the UT Tower, and I have it on. It pops up on my watch sometimes too, and I just love that photo. It's like one of my favorite photos.
Well, we'll do it. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Next,
NASA.
NASA and their crew that's coming home early.
Yeah, so you heard about this. I've been asked about this. My mom texted me about this.
Yeah.
So there was a crew, it's Crew 11 on the International Space Station. They are coming home early. In fact, the day this airs, they're scheduled to come home this afternoon, shortly after this airs. So if you're seeing this for the first time, it happens in a couple hours. If this is Thursday or Friday or whatever, well,
they're already back.
You probably saw it. So this is Crew 11 here. There was a medical issue. Someone on the crew had a medical issue, and they have not revealed details just for their own privacy, which is perfectly understandable. But because of that, the crew 11 is coming back. This is 4 astronauts all coming back a little early, about a month early. There's going to be another crew coming up in February, so they're going to have an exchange. There's 3 crew members who are going to remain on board. They have prepared for a medical contingency like this, like having to bring people home since the International Space Station started, and they haven't had to do it. So this is kind of ground. This is history making, everybody.
History in the making.
History in the making, and it is a little weird, but this is how it happens. But it happens. It seems that this video you're seeing here is from the crew last week. So it's they were in a place where whatever medical issue it was, they could talk and have conversation. It wasn't anything like emergency.
They were doing good.
Right. They need to come home a little early. What was interesting I was reading was they've had a couple issues in the past, one of which was someone had a blood clot in space. Oh, wow. And so they were thinking about bringing them home. I don't know the date of this, but fairly recently. They were thinking about bringing them home, but instead they had some anticoagulant pills. I'm very proud of pronouncing that word.
What is that?
Like it'll stop blood clots. But then they also had to do an injection. But the problem with, I've talked about people this in space, is the problem with like liquids in space is they bubble up. Yeah, the gravity. They bubble up and they float away. and so when they had to get the injection, they had to like hunt down.
Yeah.
And so it took them 10 minutes per injection.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wild? Wild. So this crew is coming home. They're going to be home today as of the day this is airing. And then, so if you see this later, if they're already home. But the other crew is going to remain up there. There's 3 people going to remain up there until the new crew comes in February to replace that crew.
How long have they been up there so far?
Not super, super long. They usually do it's like a 6-month rotation. So this would be month 5-ish, 4-ish, something like that. Yeah. So not super, super long. Not the longest
and
time.
some of them are staying up there, so they're not putting too much of a dent on their trip up there. But they are coming back.
During my readings about this, I found a PDF of NASA's regulations when it comes to death on board the International Space Station. Oh, that's
interesting.
So, and I'm like,
has it happened before?
Has not happened before.
Okay.
But they have things in place. So I'm going to read you some of the notes that I took. So obviously, like priority 1 is safety of the surviving crew. Okay. So as the body decomposes, they have to isolate it. If they cannot isolate it, they have to send it back to Earth, or
how?
They have like a pod capsule there,
okay.
or push out the airlock.
You're lying.
Not a joke. That's because they have to make sure the crew on board is safe, and you can't have bacteria growing stuff with them. They don't have a lot of refrigeration on board the International Space Station, and contamination is possible. You also have a bunch of experiments. So if they reach a point where they cannot, send it back, if they reach this point where they cannot send it back, they have to just launch the body into space. They have to do forensic sampling while in space to determine the cause of death. But this is interesting because the International Space Station is an international space station. NASA, the FBI, the military, and other countries get to investigate the death.
Wow.
Right? And
it's all hands on space.
They have right. Then they have backup behavioral specialists who have to come in and help the crew process the death. Mm-hmm. So they have that. That's part of their qualifiers. And then they cannot contaminate other worlds. So if a death occurs on Mars, they have to
bring the body
back and then launch it.
But what if it just circles back around and goes back to Mars?
A body like that, if something small like a body.
Something small like a body?
Sorry, guys. If something like a body's in space or it's like a meteorite, it's just going to burn up in the atmosphere. It's too.
Okay.
It's not protected from the
It
heat.
will dispose of itself.
It'll dispose of itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have rules in place for dealing with bodies.
That is good to know.
I'm happy to share it.
Hopefully
I
we
thought it
don't
was
have
cool
to
when I
use
found it.
it.
Hopefully they haven't had to use it yet. There hasn't been a death in space yet. They've had deaths on the way into space and the way back from space.
What about other countries? Have they had deaths in space?
Yeah, Russia's had like dogs.
Oh my
Because they
gosh.
sent dogs up into space
I'm gonna
originally.
cry.
I know. I was like, I need to answer this, but like, yeah, they have, but not people. There are no humans have died in space yet.
We used to send monkeys, right?
We sent monkeys. We brought the monkeys back.
Okay. Alive?
Yes, the Russians did not in the late 50s, early 60s.
Well, hopefully that is over with.
That is over. We don't. No one does that anymore. I mean, they send like mice and stuff, but
Yeah.
they typically try to bring all that stuff back. But yeah, human deaths in space, none.
Not yet.
Just on the way up and the way back, but never actually in space.
Well, if it happens, we have
They have rules in place.
regulations.
They have rules in place. Did I miss anything that were interesting? Everyone in the crew must establish their mortality plans before they go up. NASA acknowledges fatalities are possible despite rigorous safety measures. Human decomposition in microgravity presents human health and contamination risk. That's another thing. Everything in microgravity like floats, right? So you don't want decomposition to happen in space because it'll float everywhere. It's the same. This is a terrible metaphor. It's the same reason you don't bring bread into space, typically like crackers and like hard breads, because you don't want it'll float everywhere and get into instruments. So you don't want things to
like the crumbs.
yeah, you don't want any extra particles. Our producer's going, nope. You don't want particles floating around, so you try to reduce any. It's one things they do. We talked about this before, but they eat in space is they add a liquid to it
Space food.
because the liquid actually acts as a binding agent and keeps things from floating into instruments, into the oxygen filters and all those other things. You don't want things to get in those,
Yeah.
so they try to keep everything in microgravity becomes a risk. So you try to keep it contained.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you can debunk it for me. Is that space ice cream real? Do they really eat that?
No, 100% they do not
Okay,
eat that.
'cause
In
I'm
fact, what
thinking
they
of the way it
have
looks,
is
and that would
they
float
have real
around.
ice cream.
Okay.
That dehydrated stuff, they have a slightly dehydrated foods they put up, but it's typically they rehydrate it. They don't.
Okay.
They have a thing. I've seen a video of it. It's pretty cool. They have like a packet with like say like dried meat in it, and they'll pop it onto a thing, and they'll pump water in, and then they put it in like a heating element, like a microwave.
So it's just the regular food that we eat.
Pretty much.
Made in a different way.
And then they add extra seasoning to stuff where like because your liquids in your body, like in your nasal cavities and stuff, float.
Yeah.
You lose sense of taste.
Well, you
So-
already don't have it, so you'll be
I know
fine
I'm
up
already.
there.
I can't smell anything. But so they add like hot sauce and things to foods to add extra oomph because you need it. Otherwise, you can't taste it.
Interesting. Maybe we can do a tasting space food here.
I would love that.
That would be
I
cool.
have talked one time to one of the heads of their food, like one of the caterers,
Uh-huh.
and like he told me all about how like the astronauts come in, they do a taste test.
Let's
and,
do it.
And then they do a whole thing, and then NASA like picks out their food program. Then they have to meet like certain dietary requirements, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
We need to figure out how we can get that done.
Talk about one more telescope.
Yeah, this Black Cat Cube.
Yeah,
set.
so Black Cat CubeSat is an X-ray telescope being developed at Penn University. I almost called it something else.
Penn State.
Penn State. Thank you. That's what I was going for. Well, I was doing interviews with Penn Medicine on Friday, so my brain just. Anyway, Penn State. They're developing it there. It's gonna be launched on a SpaceX rocket later this year from Vandenberg Space Force Base.
Not from Brownsville, Texas.
No, it's from Vandenberg. I don't know why.
That's
They do different launches at different places. But it's really cool. It's going to help us discover black holes and it help us like learn about them and actually discover them as they happen.
Black holes, not my favorite topic.
I love black holes. They're cool.
Scary.
Anyway, so the creator of black hole of the
Wait, he created a black
no,
hole?
he didn't create black holes. Okay, right. Try that again. The creator of the telescope, the space telescope, spoke from Penn State about the telescope, and here he is.
There's just a ton of excitement to see this really come to fruition, be launched, and then there's going to be a whole nother level of excitement when we start to see the data flow in and we get to really analyze the data and study and say, whoa, a black hole just formed right there and we just observed the signature of it. Let's start making this light curve in this spectra and really studying it now. Abe Falcone, I'm an associate professor here in the Astronomy and Astrophysics department at Penn State University. We're really excited because we've been working for 5 years now to build our own satellite observatory mission here in this lab. This is the High Energy Astrophysics and Detector and Instrumentation Lab at Penn State. And we have built Black Cat. The Black Cat CubeSat is a black hole coated aperture telescope. This telescope is going to look in X-rays. So X-ray wavelengths, much higher energy. These are photons still, just like optical light. But these higher energy photons will come in, hit the surface of our telescope here. Some of them will get blocked and some of them won't get blocked because they'll go through little holes that are here. This is a gold surface that can help block the X-rays. And the ones that don't get blocked will go down to our X-ray detectors on the back focal plane of the telescope. And we'll be able to piece together from this, from the shadow that the blocked parts cast, we'll be able to piece together what the X-ray night sky looks like. And we'll take really rapid images over and over and over and over again and see when big bursts go off of X-ray radiation. So that gets to our main science goal. We're trying to find gamma ray bursts that are particularly shifted down into the X-ray regime instead of being peaked at the gamma ray regime but peaked in X-rays. These particular gamma ray bursts are ones that are going to come from very far away at the edges of the universe. So those gamma ray bursts had to come from stars. And when those stars end their life, it's in a cataclysmic, beautiful way where they collapse down to a black hole. If they're spinning fast enough, that black hole's spinning and a jet spews out lots of radiation. And if that jet is pointed right at us, we see it here in our telescope. Black Cat will be orbiting around the Earth, and it'll keep doing that. It'll have an orbit about every 90 minutes. It'll go around the Earth, and its solar panels will be looking out towards the sun the whole time, and it'll rotate around. And this opening, this area here, will look for those gamma ray bursts all that time while it just keeps going around the Earth every 90 minutes. It's important for everyone to understand where they came from. You know, we're studying the first stars, where they formed, how they formed. Then as the cosmic cycling happens, more stars form later on in the universe's history, and the metals that we all see and live with today form. We're basically trying to understand where the universe as we see it has come from. And part of that process of understanding those fundamentals is understanding the first stars that formed in the universe. So I feel as though it's part of the grand human endeavor to understand where we are, what our place is in the universe, and part of that is understanding how the universe works. This is also developing that technology so that we can build those next generation great observatories. The James Webb Space Telescope that many people know of, the Hubble Space Telescope. There are X-ray and gamma ray versions of these too. For instance, Chandra is up there right now, and Chandra is getting a little old, and we need a new big great X-ray observatory. And we're developing the technology that can be that big new great observatory of the future.
So they're focused on studying the first stars that existed.
How they form black holes.
Okay.
Isn't these giant gamma ray bursts? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I like how
lots of light.
You notice how he talks like I talk.
Yeah.
Just like always.
Very visually, hands.
Always
everything.
very like it's a science nerd thing. We're very like put your hands off.
Need some diagrams and visuals. Yeah.
If I could have a superpower, it'd be like if I did this.
Something
diagram would just
appeared.
form, automatically. Let's see art.
That would be cool.
There you go. Mm-hmm. All right, what's your crazy space question for me today?
Okay, we're gonna wrap things up with a crazy space question. There is space all around Earth, right? In space, it exists all around us.
Yeah.
So, what exists under Earth? Is there any objects under there? What's under us?
What?
Think about it.
Like what's like under? Well, we're a sphere.
Okay, that was my last question that you debunked.
Yeah. So we're not flat. We're not on the back of turtles.
Okay, so if we're a sphere,
okay,
there's stuff all around us. What is underneath us?
More space.
But like just blank space?
No. Space is Wow, man. Like, space is like, I'm like dreamily looking up. Space is three-dimensional. So it's, well, our galaxy's on a plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's other galaxies that are on different planes. And there's ones that are below us and above us, and they go out forever.
So there's another
It doesn't just
world under us?
there's other galaxies like beneath us.
So there's aliens beneath us.
There could be, actually, there's like other solar systems and stuff beneath us too, like within our own galaxy. Yeah, it's all stacked. It's, but it's like our galaxy's a disk of all spinning towards a giant super black hole at the center with like giant stars. Like that's what's in the center of our galaxy. If you look at if you ever look at the pictures of the Milky Way, it's like a giant bright ball, but at the very center, the thing that's pulling it all in, that's keeping the thing spinning, is a giant black hole, super giant black hole. And so spiral galaxies like ours are like that. Other galaxies are more amorphous. So there's just giant clouds of stars, and clouds is like a rough term. We're talking, whenever we picture stuff, it's a big cloud. It's not really a giant cloud.
Just foggy.
Not even that. It's like, that's like the fog we see in those images we see is all artificial. We add that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we add it to show like where like solar winds are moving and stuff. It's like to represent something that we can't visually see but does exist.
Kind of like the radar in forecasting.
Right. But those actually show clouds.
But they also show like debris.
Right, that's a good example. Yeah, that's like a debris. It's like, you ever think about like the asteroid belt, how it looks like a belt in every picture? It's not a belt. It's like asteroids are hundreds. It is a belt, but it's like hundreds of millions of miles apart, each asteroid. They're not like close. And so the galaxies are very similar. Those things are very spread out. So if you were like a deity, yeah, you probably would see that. But humans will never see it in that way from our own galaxy. But I guess we could see other galaxies. Anyway, that's beyond the point. You see like the brightness of the stars and stuff spinning, but you don't. It's not like it's purple and blue and all those things. But they are. It's all stacked up. There's multiple different types. There's the more amorphous ones. There's the spiral galaxies. There's all these different galaxies, and they're all spread out. And they're stacked and they're out. And then in space is just going out in all directions. It's not going this. It's going that.
All
everywhere,
around, filling
all around
space. Pretty much.
Yes, space is infinite for the most part.
Space.
Space is infinite, but the stuff inside space in our universe is I don't know. It's
expires.
It's expanding still.
Oh.
So the universe is expanding, and then within that is space, and within the space is galaxies, and within the galaxies are solar systems, and then there's planets, and then there's us, and we're tiny and small and insignificant.
So there's something under us. We just don't know what it is.
Well, there's other systems, yeah. We have spotted those. Like I said, like when we look south,
yeah,
we're looking towards the center of our galaxy.
Yeah.
So when the Earth spins, if we're like this, right, and I forget the actual, it's like that. It's more like that, and if you're down here, well, here you're looking towards the center. If you're looking from the backside away from our sun, you're looking down. But there's stars there. You see them at night. If you're on the southern hemisphere, yeah, you do see them. Yeah.
So we probably have aliens underneath us.
You were just trying to find an excuse to talk about aliens today. Do you like this new setup? We actually can look at each other and not be weird.
Yes, I love this setup. I hope everyone else loves it. Let us know what you guys think about it.
We're in the same room.
We're right next to each other, but we're also far away.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, same room, same space. Margaret's working the devices today.
Yes.
And running it. She's got it going. We did rearrange the entire room with no notice. Walked in here and said, "Can we just turn the cameras?" Because that's the type of guy I am. My earpiece is falling out, but it's been fun.
We're going to continue trying new things, and we hope everyone else loves them. Your article is on our website, KXAN.com.
Yes, KXAN.com. Check it out.
And you can read more about the map of America. Is that it?
That was the whole world. The map of America.
You can read more about the Giant Magellan Telescope.
Named for the
T-shirt brand.
No, the Explorer.
Well, thank you for joining me, Eric, and thanks for everyone who is watching the Space Base. We'll be back next week with another fun episode.
Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, actually, I do have something planned.
Save it for next week.
Yeah, I'll save it next week.
See you next
Bye.
week.